All right, in this video, we're going to look at doing the walls here. So this will just prevent us from having our ball disappear off the edge. And so in order to do that, we're just going to create some blocks and then sort of group them together. And yeah, we'll sort of apply material too, probably. So let's just come over to here up to our game object. And we are going to go to 3D object and we're going to go cube. And we'll sort of worry about placing them in a second. What I will say is that over here in the 3D gizmo, you've got a choice of perspective view, which is this 3D look. And if you click on it, then it does the isographic view, or isometric view, I should say. And so what that does is sort of flatten things, and that will be helpful for positioning, as you'll see in a moment. And then you can also click on these to get, say, a top view, or you go sort of through it, front, and you can sort of alternate between different views as you see sort of appropriate, right? So I'm going to go to the top view here, and we're just going to sort of place this. Now, oftentimes you can get, sort of a rough idea. I think on Z, I'll put that to 0 just to center it. And you can see that probably placing it about -10 will work out. Whoops, that's a -0. -1, 0, there we go. We'll place it right where we want it. And that's where the isographic view helps. If you go into perspective, it becomes, especially if you're not straight on, it becomes a little tough to see how well it's lining up. So that's usually a good way to do it. And we'll just make sure it's on the top again. Okay, now we want to stretch it out so that it's the length of this. And so we could check here, we're kind of, that's our Z-axis. And then we can put it a little bit farther, and I think 20, whoops, make sure you're on the right one on the cube, and make sure you're on the right thing. We want to do the scale, and so I think 20 was appropriate there. And so that looks pretty good, okay? And I also think we lifted it a little bit and maybe made it a little bit higher. So the height on this, Z and X were sort of that way. So the Y is our height, if we remember from before. I'm going to make it twice as high, and you can see it jump up there, which is good. And I guess this is sort of our left wall, so I'll just call it L wall. Whoops, L whack. And what we can do then is just simply duplicate it. So there's lots of ways to duplicate it, as is most things, but Control D, so click on it again, Control D, that will duplicate it. And right away, we'll just call that R wall. And if we place that at -10 on the X, well, we're probably going to place it at +10 on the X. And that's what's helpful when everything's sort of nicely centered. So that's done. Then I'm basically going to do the same thing. I'm going to duplicate it again. Doesn't matter which one, Control D, so I'll duplicate that. Let's just call this the, well, I don't know, T-wall. Okay. And this one here, I need to rotate it. I'm going to rotate it around the y-axis. There's 90. This time we want to center it on the sort of the x-axis, and then bring it up on that. Whoops, that was the height. Sorry, that's why I didn't do it. And on the z-axis, we want to make that +10, and that will just move it up there. Now you can see there's a little bit of a gap. So what I'll do is just stretch that out just a little bit to 21 there. And oops, I didn't mean to cut it. So that looks pretty good. And then we'll just do the same thing. We'll duplicate that. I guess the bottom wall, Control D. Forget what I used to call it. Maybe south, but anyways, B wall. We'll get the idea. It's not really all that important. And again, if this was placed at 10 on the Z, I'm going to place it at -10 on the Z. There we go. And so everything should look pretty good. Okay, now I'm also going to show a little bit of an organizational technique. You'll notice here there's no folders. There's no way to add a folder in this section. So what we tend to do if we want to organize a few things is we add an empty. And you can think of that empty almost as a folder. And so what I'm going to call this is my walls object. So I'm going to put all my walls into this. One thing that's very important is usually centering this out, okay? Now, I've been typing it in manually. Just to show you another way, you can always click on this, and you can hit reset. So that's actually a little bit quicker. And it puts it in the middle. But the key thing is, I'm going to grab these. So I held Shift, click the first one, held shift, click the last one, that selects them all. Or the typical, I could click each one, there's 4 of them, and drag them into the walls. So the walls, this empty game object, and the only thing it has is that transform, allows us to sort of collect objects and then sort of reduce the amount of clutter that is in our hierarchy. By doing that, right, we can sort of hide things. So oftentimes, player, for example, might be made of multiple components or whatever. We might have a lot of different structures. Being able to do that can help make this a little bit more manageable. And so that's really all we have to do for walls, apart from maybe giving it a color. And so again, up to you. But again, we can go back, assets, materials. We can change, so create, and so material. And so this time, whatever color you want. So I'm going to call this wall. Well, I'll give it a color. So I haven't done blue. I'm going to do blue. But again, it's up to you. Feel free to be more experimental than I am here. Whoops. And there we go. So there's my blue. And I would have to apply it to all these objects. I guess I could select them all and do that, but I think that's the easiest. If you make a mistake, right? Like if I accidentally put this with a red, all you have to do is place that on top. Okay, there's no big deal. No worries. You'll also see here, this material has sort of been added here, okay? There's things called shaders. We won't worry about it, but that looks pretty good. So I think we're pretty well done for this video. A nice short one, but we've got the walls in. I mean, you might want to, on the last little thing, just double check that you can still see the ball. Your walls aren't too high. And then also that, everything's playing fine. You don't fall through the walls or whatever. There we go. And so I'll just sort of do that. Fine. I mean, in theory, bang against each of these walls just to make sure that we're all okay. Looks good. Okay. And so again, probably a safe thing to do is save to make sure it's all saved. And then we'll go to the next video where we'll start getting the pickups ready.